Let me say good evening, my friends, wherever you may be in the neck of the woods. Greetings, blessings, long life, my friends. I hope and I pray that you are enjoying yourselves. Last week I presented the unbreakable promise as it relates to the Jews as a nation. This week, the topic is the church fathers on Jews and Judaism. So I will be coming from a historical, um, theological point of view and the enduring legacy that have damaged the Jews left by Christianity, the forefathers, the church fathers on Jews and Judaism. The negatives being left by the church fathers. And many of us have been brainwashed by these legacies. So this evening, we will be exploring challenging but crucial topic. Very difficult. Many of us will not accept the truth until we do our research. And that is one of the objectives of this presentation, that I may persuade you to research the church fathers on Jews and Judaism. Yes, my friend, historical theology and its enduring legacy. I'm yours truly, and today's date is October 11th, 2025. How the foundational theologians of early Christianity spoke about the Jews and Judaism, and how these ideas shaped history, my friends. I must tell you that this is a complex and historically significant topic. The writings of the church fathers on Jews and Judaism are extensive, my friends, varied, and often deeply negative. Their views were not monolithic, but they established a theological framework that had devastated consequences for Jewish Christian relations for centuries. Yes, my friends, it is crucial to understand that the church fathers were writing in a specific context. The parting of ways, theological rivalry, post 70 common era reality. Yes, my friends, Christianity began as a Jewish group. but was gradually separated from a defining itself against Judaism. So Christianity and Judaism has begun toe to toe. And gradually, Christianity separated from defining itself against Judaism. The rivalry started, my friends. Separation initiate the whole process. And after separation, then rivalry. They were competing with Judaism, that is Christianity, for converts and legalism. Lawful belonging. Legitimacy, my friends, in the Roman world. Christianity wanted to be accepted by the Roman world. So they have separated themselves and then create a controversial atmosphere as a result of wanted to be accepted by the Roman world. So post 70 era reality, that's when the temple, the second temple, was destroyed. In Jerusalem, both rabbinic Judaism and Christianity were growing, and their identities in response to this catastrophe, my friends, their writings can be broadly categorized into several themes. So, we must understand the context by setting the stage. And we are looking at the 1st to the 4th century common era. What happened between these periods? The parting of the way, that is, Christianity began as a Christian sect, but was defining itself as a separate religion. You have doctrinal rivalry, competing with Judaism for converts and legality in the Roman world. Political shift. Christianity moved from a persecuted faith to the official religion of the empire under Constantine. And of course, post-temple Judaism, both rabbinical Judaism and Christianity were forming a new identities after the destruction of the Jerusalem temple in CE 70. It is vital to understand that the church fathers were not writing in a vacuum. They were engaged in an intense process of self-definition, often in a direct competition with the very tradition from which they emerge. We must understand that, my friends. So the church fathers were not playing games. Their objective is to create an atmosphere so that the Jews may look less than they are. So let us not run ahead of ourselves. So supersessionism or replacement theology, the church replaced Judaism here, my friends. And the core idea is the Christian church is a true Israel. And that is impossible. Because Jeremiah chapter 31, verses 35 to 37, categorically state that the Jewish nation is God's witness forever. So no one can replace the Jews. No nation, no sect can replace the Jewish people as God's chosen. They even went to the extreme by calling the Tanakh, that is the Torah, the 5 books of Moses, the Ketuvim and the Nevi'im, Old Testament, the prophets and the writings, and Torah, Old Testament, superseded by the new covenant in so-called Messiah, my friends. And the bigwigs were behind this ideology, Christology, my friends. Like Justin, Irenaeus, and I'm talking about from 100 to 165 CE. That is Justin, Martyr. You have Irenaeus of Lyon, 130 to 202. So the support being strong behind the Christian sect, the Christian group, my friends. This was the foundational theological principle. It was just that the Christian was better. It claimed that Judaism's purpose was now completely finished, obsolete. The promises to Israel now belong to the church. Yes, my friends. And the brainwashing has begun. The Jews were charged of being a killer. This was perhaps the most inflammatory charge. It transformed a historical event into a perpetual inherited guilt for an entire people, creating powerful engine for hatred, my friends. The most contagious rhetoric, a den of thieves. The rhetoric is shocking to modern ears. It's important to note his goal was pastoral. That is, Chrysostom's rhetoric, the dens of thieves, the dwelling place of demons, fit for slaughter, being possessed by demonic madness. Yes, my friends. And it goes and it went on and on and on. And the people are being brainwashed, my friends, up to this very moment as I speak. The modern era has seen a profound and necessary reckoning. Since the mid-20th century, most major Christian denominations have formally rejected these teachings of contempt. Churches are actively working to dismantle this ancient legacy of hatred and build a new relationship based on mutual respect, my friends. Augustine, the witness people doctrine. Augustine of Hippo, 354 to 430 CE, provided a more nuanced but still supersessionist view. This doctrine ironically offered Jews a measure of protection from extermination in the medieval world, but it legally, theologically enforced their marginalization. Augustine's view is a complex paradox, my friends. It argued against their destruction, but only to keep them as a perpetual example of divine punishment, cementing their second-class status. My friends, the line from theological teaching to social action is clear. For over 1,500 years, these ideas were used to justify laws, violence, and hatred against the Jewish communities right across Europe, my friends, and elsewhere. The writing of the church fathers did not cause the Holocaust, but they planted the deep theological seeds of anti-Judaism that became a core part of medieval Christian thought. Their ideas provided the religious justification for social marginalization, my friend, ghettoization, forced conversation and disputation, accusation of blood, liberal and host desecration, violence program, especially during the Crusades. Yes, my friends, this is no joke. And I must conclude from lessons, my friends, lessons from history. The views of the church fathers were complex, varied, my friends. their theological suppressionism and controversial rhetoric created a devastating legacy up to this very day, my friends. Understanding this history is not about assigning blame, but about comprehending how ideas have powers. Yes, my friends, ideology has power. It is a critical case study in the danger of religious controversy that dehumanize any group of people, my friends. This history challenges us to be critical of inherited traditions, my friends, to understand the power of language, and to actively work against theologies of hatred in our own time. In summary, my friends, the church fathers largely characterized Jew as a rejected people, guilty of being a killer, my friends, who practical is a threat against any state. Yes, my friends. And it is said that these people practice a dead, literalistic religion that had been superseded by the spiritual truth of Christianity. This theology created a powerful and enduring legacy of Christian anti-Judaism. Yes, my friends, I hope I have stimulated your thoughts. And I hope also that you will take some time out and research the church fathers between the 1st century to the 4th century. My friends, I hope you will continue to study and to check every words so that you are not being fooled, my friends. Thank you for your undivided attention. Continue to be focused. Continue to be sharp. Continue to give our Heavenly Father, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the praise, the honor, and the glory. There's no other God. Any other is idol, my friends. Selah, and thank you.